from the lakeside to the plant facility, and we have to run those trunk lines through these communities to get to their ultimate destination. The other concern was the gravity sewer system will require either pump stations of some sort, and how do we hide those? That's the pictures we had when it started, was back in the winter. Within these communities, how could one be implemented there? And it's just meant to illustrate that there are no real vacant swaths of land that are under public ownership that we could integrate these in. And they would be challenging to do in a way that didn't impact the surrounding neighborhoods. So here endeth the PowerPoint presentation that was done a year in preparation. Worked all that time to give council some background of some of the thought processes that went into the system. I'm going to shut this down if you have any questions.
Yeah, no, I have a question. You can shut it down. It's fine.
Better to the light. Deputy Mayor Dag, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a couple questions, but I'll just start with one. In light of the fact that zone 3 and 4 is very uncertain at this point because we don't have provincial or federal funding and it's so pricey. The recommendation, as I understand you're communicating, is that we go forward anyways, regardless of 3 or 4, or that is the intent at this point, is move forward, regardless of whether zone 3 and 4 are included in the sewer system ultimately, right?
Well, I think the issue, there's two, I hate to use the word trains again, but there's two trains moving forward. One is the treatment facility itself, training, and the other is development of collection systems. And so the track for the development of the plant is something that's imminent and it's upon us. And the consideration for council at this time, I think, is one of the factors that led to the single train, double train options being considered was, does council want to continue or want to provide capacity for zones 3 and 4 at this time, at least the portions that not currently serviced in the treatment facility, and adjust our capacity requests downward to the area sewage board? Or is it prudent to, in my mind, is it prudent with 2/3 funding for that capacity now to take advantage of that and the Green Municipal Fund loan and our low interest loan and grant? And so that's the consideration. Similarly, the issue for Blue Water and South Huron is somewhat the same. They've identified what their ultimate build-out capacity is going to be, and they know that they're going to be their obligation to fund their share of that treatment facility through their EA processes, which we're just now concluding. They're reshaping what their ultimate capacity requirements are going to be. So how that's going to pan out once we get the single tier, double tier tender results to know whether the estimates that we've had are within reason or under what the tender costs are going to be, or over what those tender costs are projected. So all three councils still have that opportunity to make those fine-tuning adjustments. Ultimately, you want to make sure that you're going to be able to fund what you're building in terms of meeting future capacity needs. And we need to have that discussion at this table, and that's part of what the mandate of the ad hoc committee, I think it was Dr. Belkis document, is to help council get a better understanding of how they believe from Land and Shore's perspective, how those systems might be developed or not developed. All the different options are on the table for them to consider hybrid systems and variations on it and come back to this council. And I think the time frame is obviously important for us because we'll have a window once the tenders are awarded. I'm not sure whether it's 60 days or, sorry, 90 days to consider. And I know that the ad hoc committee is burning the midnight oil to try and get through its mandate. So a lot of these things are converging. It's a very tight time frame. So, but nothing is, as far as we're concerned, nothing is committed about the treatment facility, nothing committed about the development of collection systems at this point until further information.
Yeah.
it's forthcoming.
Maybe you can explain myself well, or there was a bit of interrupt there. The idea is, my question is that, it is the understanding that this plant would have to progress even if zones 3 and 4 were not connected to it, in light of the population projections, in light of MOB requirements, in light of future development, whatever, right? So even if zone 3 and 4 were not a part of it, the development in our area would require a sewage treatment facility, because we're built capacity, right?
I think
That's the
that's the direction that council has taken at this point in time.
So really it is development driven.
Well, I think it's growth. It's
Development.
partially. Partially is we have an aging system that's 30 years old that, again, down the road, we're currently operating under a C of A that's pretty liberal and wide open. Federal mandates, and again, it may disappear as well. The federal government's looking at protecting oceans, lakes, and rivers and so on and so forth to a higher effluent standard, and may mandate that as well. The province may do that as well. So we're trying to look at what can we do to improve the quality of Lake Huron that we're impacted, protect our fishing areas, protect our tourism areas by improving the effluent quality. Is it a drop in the bucket compared to what effluent is coming from agricultural? Maybe, but they're trying to address the agricultural effluent flows on site, I guess, through Ministry of Ag and Food approaches to handling it.
The septic systems on site, and I know you have emphasized the fact that the aging of the septic systems and things like that, and of course this is going to be addressed in the inspections in the future by the county, and there are options, there are tertiary sites, there are other things that which will be required to do. So installing sewers is not an essential thing in zones 3 and 4, because there are lots of options that to be considered. And so it seems to be ongoing discussion about zones 3 and 4, and to me it's not even really necessary part of the discussion, because it's really development driven largely, and they can address their own issues within zones 3 and 4 if in fact they are considered to be faulty by the county, right? So we can limit ourselves to something smaller, pay less, and keep lagoons available so that we can hold septic as necessary, and work within our financial restraints, and not have to worry about waiting for the federal government to provide the money.
I tried to provide that context for that PowerPoint because these discussions began in 2004, and once the approval from Bill Canada was given to provide funding for the treatment cells, the municipalities had approached them at the same time about, we need to develop our collection system. They said, we know that, we know it's going to be expensive and arduous, but, come back to us once you've got the plan underway. Well, it's taken longer to get the plan underway. And as we know, we missed somewhat of an opportunity. I hope there's another return from the stimulus funding and so on and so forth that came and went while we were reviewing the issue. But the whole impetus was to try and be in a position where we could take advantage of federal and provincial funding. Doesn't mean we had to accept it. It's a lot easier to give the money back than to request it after the opportunity is closed. So that was the consideration, or I guess the urgency, if I can use that term, of trying to get some sense through the EA process of who might be included and what might be projected in terms of how we might service those and what those costs might be, so we could make an educated presentation to federal and provincial agencies as to.
And I guess my last question is, why is, if this is largely development driven, why is it not focusing on development as opposed to zones 3 and 4 as the source of the funding for these mega projects?
Well, each of the municipalities identify the areas that we have in our official plan or our zoning bylaws that are slated for development. So South Bend Estates was a new development that was projected. We made an allocation in the original application for, I want to say a quarter.
260 cubic meters.
Yeah, whatever. So it's a portion of growth. We also wanted to identify the area that Mr. Troop was looking at in terms of Canadian Tire development in that area, and how would we meet those capacities. In South Huron and Blue Water, we're trying to do the same thing, identify, not, well,